Belgium, country of northwestern Europe, is one of the smallest and most densely populated European countries, and it has been, since its independence in 1830, a representative democracy headed by a hereditary constitutional monarch. Initially, Belgium had a unitary form of government in the 1980s and 90s. However, steps were taken to turn Belgium into a federal state with powers shared among the regions of Flanders, Wallonia, and the Brussels capital region. Land: the country has a total of 860 miles 1,385 km of land boundaries with neighbors. It is bounded by the Netherlands to the north, Germany to the east, Luxembourg to the southeast, and France to the south. Belgium also has some 40 miles 60 km of shoreline on the North Sea. Plant and animal life. All of Belgium except the Ardennes lies within the zone of broadleaf deciduous forestation. The dominant tree is the oak. Others include beeches, birches, and elms. Little remains of the forest that covered this area 2,000 years ago. Most of lowland Belgium is now used for agriculture or human settlement. Small clumps of deciduous trees and grasses dominate the remaining open spaces. In the Kempenland, however, significant areas are devoted to planted forests of silver birch and Corsican pine. The Ardennes lies within the zone of mixed deciduous and coniferous forestation. The area has been heavily logged for centuries, hence little old-growth forest remains. The Ardennes is dominated now by coniferous forest in the higher elevations and by zones of mixed coniferous and deciduous trees, especially beeches and oaks in the foothills. Haute-Fagnes, which is located at the northeastern edge of the Ardennes, has many peat bogs. The animal population, greatly reduced by human activities, is Eurasian. Most remaining wild animals are found in the Ardennes. Wild boars, wildcats, deer, and pheasant are among the more common animals of the region. A number of birds can be found in the Belgian lowlands, including sandpipers, woodcocks, snipes, and lapwings. People, ethnic groups, and languages. The population of Belgium is divided into three linguistic communities. In the north, the Flemings, who constitute more than half of Belgium's population, speak Flemish, which is equivalent to Dutch, sometimes called Netherlandic. In the south, the French-speaking Walloons make up about 1/3 of the country's population. About 1/10 of the people are completely bilingual, but a majority have some knowledge of both French and Flemish. The German language region in Eastern Liege province, containing a small fraction of the Belgian population, consists of several communes around Eupen and Saint-Vith. The city of Brussels comprises a number of officially bilingual communes, although the metropolitan area extends far into the surrounding Flemish and Walloon communes. Religion. The majority of Belgians are Roman Catholic, but regular attendance at religious services is variable. Although it is marked in the Flemish region and the Ardennes, regular attendance at church has decreased in the Walloon industrial region and in Brussels, and nearly 1/3 of Belgians are non-religious. The relatively few Protestants live mostly in urban areas in Hainaut, particularly in the industrial region known as the Bornage, and in and around Brussels. Several municipalities on the north and west sides of Brussels, notably Schaerbeek, are home to many Muslim immigrants. The country's small Jewish population is concentrated in and around Brussels and Antwerp. Economy of Belgium. Belgium has a free enterprise economy, with the majority of the gross domestic product (GDP) generated by the service sector. The Belgian economy also is inextricably tied to that of Europe. The country has been a member of a variety of supranational organizations, including the Belgian-Luxembourg Economic Union, the Benelux Economic Union, and the EU. The first major step Belgium took in internationalizing its economy occurred when it became a charter member of the European Coal and Steel Community in 1952. On January 1, 1999, Belgium also became a charter member of the European Monetary Union, paving the way for the introduction of the euro, which became the country's sole currency in 2002, replacing the Belgian franc. Agriculture, forestry, and fishing. Only a small percentage of the country's active population engages in agriculture, and agricultural activity has continued to shrink, both in employment and in its contribution to the GDP. About 1/4 of Belgium's land area is agricultural and under permanent cultivation. More then 1/5 comprises meadows and pastures. Major crops are sugar beets, chicory, flax, cereal grains, and potatoes. Labor and taxation. After the service industries, manufacturing and construction enterprises are the largest employers. Agriculture and mining employ only a tiny percentage of the labor force. About half of Belgian workers belong to labor unions. The Belgian government levies taxes on income as well as on goods and services. These taxes, along with social security contributions, provide the bulk of the national revenue. Transportation and telecommunications. Belgium has an extensive system of main roads, supplemented by modern expressways that extend from Brussels to Ostend by way of Ghent and Brugge, from Brussels to Antwerp, from Brussels to Luxembourg City by way of Namur, and from Antwerp to Aachen, Germany by way of Hasselt. Other expressways include those from Antwerp to Kortrijk by way of Ghent and from Brussels to Paris through Mons. Health and welfare. A great improvement in health conditions after World War II was due as much to the programs of social insurance, covering nearly the entire population, as to advances in medical science. In addition to the many hospitals, hundreds of centers offer specialized help in medical, psychological, and geriatric areas as well as in physical rehabilitation. Housing. Building is encouraged in a number of ways, including government-guaranteed mortgage loans that have low interest rates. Most Belgians prefer to live in single-family houses. The rate of home ownership in Belgium is among the highest in Western Europe, though the cost of housing increased significantly in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Education. Freedom of education is a constitutional guarantee in Belgium, but conflicts between public and confessional schools date almost to the founding of the kingdom and remain a delicate problem within the social fabric. A dual system of state-run schools and religious-free schools exists on the primary and secondary levels, with the free schools subsidized by the state to compensate for the abolition of fees in 1958. Cultural life. Belgium's long and rich cultural and artistic heritage is epitomized in the paintings of Pieter Bruegel, the elder Jan van Eyck, Hans Memling, Dirk Bouts, Peter Paul Rubens, René Magritte, and Paul Delvaux in the music of Peter Benoit, and César Franck in the dramas of Maurice Maeterlinck, and in the many palaces, castles, town halls, and cathedrals of the Belgian cities and countryside.